Hey everyone, I'm back with my first project for February. I have the kit here and I'm going to go over real quick what's in it. There's some delicate Tres Jolie chipboard, a couple of charms, this little glass pin, and that right there that I'm pointing at is a little glass bulb, a pack of 49 end market flowers, and then from P13 there is a traveler's notebook, a spring themed paper pad, matches the traveler's notebook there, and this little stamp set. So I'm going to go over and I'm going to do a traveler's notebook using pictures from a trip I took with my grandmother in 1991. The pictures are all they're really all horrible. They're very blurry, at least the ones that I've come across so far. They were taken on a 110 camera. They're old. They've been digitized, but not all of them have been. But I'm going to use it for this project. Now, one of the things that I think really works for traveler's notebooks is using maps from the background, or from where you're visiting, like if you're actually using it for some kind of journey or trip or vacation. They don't have to be just for travel. Anyhow, is using maps from where you're going to be going or where you had been, maps that don't even have anything to do with that, just decorative. There's a lot of resources out there of public domain maps that you could get, or just print out the map of where you're going. Just make sure of copyrights. I mean, if it's for yourself, personal use maps should be okay as long as you're not selling them, unless they're from the public domain, then I guess you could sell them if you wanted. I have that roll of it's paper. It's kind of thick, like wrapping paper. This paper ribbon of just some globe print on it, and then I'm going to print out a collage that I make, and I'm going to use those 3 map prints together as my page bases. Alright, here I am. I have my photos printed, I have them cut, I have my pages formatted. That's, I did all this on my computer with my photos. I have my front cover on there. That's the big roll of map paper. I also have a collage that I printed out right there. I'll have that up. I'll share that collage piece that I put together. It's all made out of public domain maps, so I'll put that up for your personal use. And then I did make templates for a couple of the pages. You can see I left the spots where I will be putting my pictures. Then I actually printed some black line map on those pieces of paper, the 6x6, and I did it by basically lying to my printer. I told it I was giving it an A5 sheet of paper, which is like 5 7/8 by 8 something. I just made sure that my picture stopped at 6 inches. Alright, This, I wanted to emphasize my collage that I printed on. I printed my collage with my inkjet, but I didn't use regular paper. It's like a coated paper, has color lock technology for documents. For my maps that I printed on the cardstock from the kit, I did use my little monochrome printer, laser printer. I don't know if it would have worked as well with an inkjet, because it would have likely bled. If you wanted to test your printer, then I would get some scrap cardstock that's similar in texture and thickness to what is in the kit, and test your own printer to see how it might come out, or close to how it will come out. So I'm over here. I'm going to start cutting up all my back pages, start getting everything ready so that I can just start gluing things into place. I'm just trimming my corners on my papers there. I have a 3-in-1 corner chomper thing from We Are Memory Keepers. I used the 7mm corner. It was the one that was closest to the corners that are on that traveler's notebook. Alright, I have these 12x12 adhesive sheets, which I should have put my pages on before I cut them, but I did not think I had as much as I ended up having, as many pieces as I ended up having. So you can see here, I have my sections all put together, just sort of stuck them in the groups they'll be going in, so that I can kind of keep track of it a little bit. And now I am just going to go sheet by sheet by sheet, and each section, and sticking it on to these big adhesive backings so that I can just peel them off and go about putting my traveler's notebook together. Alright, I have all of my pictures and my backgrounds ready to just be peeled off, and I did go ahead and, using my laser printer, I made my little text blocks. Like I said, I don't know how well this would have worked if I had used my inkjet, because the dye ink in standard inkjets is prone to bleeding. On a couple of these right here, because I had made masks so that I could print that map on just the white sections of the pages that have the flower clusters, I was able to line up a couple of the text blocks and print out on those sections as well. So I'm going to get my text blocks stuck on. It's the last thing I have to do before I can start just the peel and stick assembly. Alright, it is go time for me now. I restacked my sheets so that I would hopefully not get too confused when I put everything back. I tried to keep my pages together the best I could when I was putting them on the sticker paper. So I really did just eyeball line up where I wanted to put things, made sure to push it down good, and just kept going at it. Alright, because I had done these layouts on my computer, I was able to just keep the picture up on my monitor, and so that I could put my pictures back the way I had originally done them. This right here, I wasn't sure if it would be easier to put the backgrounds on with pictures on or off, or if it would be harder to put the pictures on after it was already in the book. But as I did my pages, it really didn't matter how I did it. That sticky paper was good enough that it really just held on real good, regardless of what order I did put it in. After I had the pages in, I just used that protective sheet. It didn't have any of the glue on it, so I used that protective sheet just to protect my photos, so that I could really push down and not have my hands kind of get stuck to the surface of the photos. It just made it a lot smoother for me to push them down. At first, I was going to wait and just put my text blocks on all at the end, but I decided to make sure that each page section was done one section at a time, and it would help clear up those pages or the sticker sheets as I went along, getting more things out of the way. Alright, on this next section, I am using that ribbon on my background. When I originally cut the ribbon pieces out, that paper ribbon, I just want to make sure I've said it's paper ribbon. I wasn't sure how much I needed, so I kind of guessed. And then when I got here, I didn't want to deal with the paper or the sticky side of it, so I used my metal ruler and a craft knife and just cut out the whole section of that sticker paper with the ribbon on it, so that it would be easier for me to work with and trim to size after I had it measured. Alright, after I got one page done with the paper ribbon, I started adding my photos just to get things lined up while I thought about what I was going to do with that little gap. I didn't want to cut a piece of ribbon part way, so I do end up using just a piece of the pattern paper to fill in that gap on both sides of the page that it comes out on. On this next section, this is where I used some of the cardstock that I had printed that line map on, just pushed it down. Because the Traveler's Notebook is 8 inches, a little over 8 inches, and the papers were only 6 inches, I kind of made a patchwork between them and some of the other map pieces that I have been using. Alright, on this next page, after I laid down some of that collage that I had made, I went to work on putting the pictures on a little bit at a time. I have a few pages where I used the same technique. I kept the cutout piece on the smaller pictures that I pieced together so that I could use it to help with my spacing and lining them up when it did come time to get them down permanently. On this section, because this is all pictures of wildflowers, and I do have a floral print for my title block on this page, I just fussy cut the flower corners out on one of those map prints, just lining it up just so there'd be a little bit of overlay with my collage paper there on the back. On this particular page, I think it's the only one that I really changed my original layout on. I had the lawn pictures opposite of where they are, but because I had put that floral paper down in the corners, I didn't want to completely cover it up, so I just switched my circle pictures with those large skinny rectangles there on this side. As I was working, I decided to try to pull up the cardstock and just lay that floral print over the edge of one of my pictures there at the bottom, and the paper pulled apart, so I just added some bits of the sticker sheet and then just glued it back down that way. You can't even tell now that I had struggles down there. The rest of my backgrounds and my pictures and my text blocks, they all just went together the same way. Just peeled them up and stuck them back down, and then when I got to the end, I added a bit of the cut apart pieces that can be found on the front and back cover of the paper pad. I had done the same thing with those cutout pieces as I did with everything else. I just turned them into stickers. A lot of the times I would just use those smaller cut apart pieces to fill in the gaps between my text blocks and my pictures and my backgrounds on the sticker sheets. So then when I got to this part, all I really had to do is peel and stick. A couple places I added little strips of color with some of the skinnier pieces from my cuts, but I really didn't go super crazy because I have so many pictures in there. I didn't want it to be too overpowering. Alright, now with all of my text blocks and backgrounds and photos and stickers in place, I decided I wanted to reinforce the outer cover where the staples are there on the spine, just because it would be getting opened and closed a lot, or kind of a lot. So I decided to try this ruler that I have had for years, but I rarely ever use it, and I wanted to kind of try to get a torn look, but also kind of keep it straight. So I decided to pull this ruler out and try it again, and I remember why I don't use it very often. It is not the easiest thing to tear, especially since I also had sticky paper on the back already of this piece that I am working on right now. Alright, I just eyeballed, tried to line it up the best I could. I didn't want to cover too much of the flowers on one side or the other. I tried to keep it mostly centered. So I just pushed it down and wrapped it around. And I do like that nice clean edge it gives it now. It goes with the travel theme I have going on the inside. I had thought about adding maybe a little extra on the outside with that a piece of paper ribbon, but I thought it was just too busy because of the flowers and the other map I already had there. So I decided to add it to the inside and use it to reinforce at the staple points between the cover and that front page. I also have this, just a little pocket that I made real quick in my Silhouette Studio software. Just folding it down, just so in case I come across anything. I don't know if I have any ticket stubs from places that we had been that I might come across that I would be able to add to this travel journal. I added one last sticker there, that little bag with flowers in it, and then decided I was done with the inside, so I decided to work on the finishing touches for my cover. I have a drawer full of alpha stickers, and if I don't use them, I don't know if they will ever go down. So I just reached in and grabbed some. I didn't even really dig, I just picked what was on the top. The yellow ones are from Pink Fresh, the Life Noted. They're a few years old. And the little ones are from American Crafts. There's the chenille box of crayon stickers, and I just used those for the year on my cover there. After I had my title and my year on there, I decided I wanted to add just a little something extra. So I started sorting through the Tres Jolie chipboard from the kit this month, just playing around with it, seeing which ones that I liked, where I might want to put them. And after I made my decision, I just added some oak leaf olive embossing powder from Lindy's Gang. It came in a past kit. It came in the September 2019 Cards, Tags, and More kit. I really like that oak leaf olive color. I like to use it on vintage florals, actually, because it's a nice vintage green, but it does have some shine to it. Alright, for my final touch, I grabbed up the Music Lines stamp off of that set that is in the kit, and I didn't bother putting it on an acrylic block. I just did it by hand so that I could get uneven pressure, so I could wrap it around the spine like that. I do like using my hand sometimes on stamps just because the uneven pressure adds more of a vintagey or kind of a grungy look to it, depending on the stamp style, the colors of the ink. But I do like how the unevenness does add to the vintage hues of this paper pack. And then I just went through my traveler's notebook, adding just random little bits more from that stamp. And I am using some Prima fluid chalk ink in Blossom Bud. It was from the November 19 scrapbooking kit, so it obviously didn't even dry out. That's pretty good, actually. I mean, I do live in a humid environment, but I have had things dry out, and this one didn't, so. Alright, and that was the end of it. My traveler's notebook is completed. Well, at least completed for now. I do have a few pages in the back. So when I come across more pictures and get them digitized, I will be able to add them here. And I do know that I have a ton more pictures from this trip, so I will very likely be needing a few more traveler's notebook to make a complete set. But that's a future me problem, I guess. Thank you for joining us here at Tres Jolie. I hope you enjoyed this project and I gave you some ideas of what you can do with your traveler's notebook. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and turn on notifications. And I will see you again next week.